What's going on, boys? This is Coach Medina. This is a video for freshmen. So if you are not a freshman, if you are a senior or a sophomore, you need to go to your class-specific video, watch it. So this is Romeo and Juliet recap. I want to recap what we talked about before you guys went on break. I want to recap the story so that you guys sort of know what's going on. I'm going to post this. Today is Sunday the 19th. I'm going to post this today so that when you check back tomorrow, your Google Classroom, I'm going to have Act 1, Scene 4 for you guys to have turned in April 20th at midnight. So check Google Classroom, make sure you watch these videos, and make sure you comment that you've watched them so that I know that you've been doing it, all right? So just to recap a little bit of Romeo and Juliet, it's been a little while since we talked about them, but in Act 1, Scene 3, we leave Romeo and his cousin Benvolio with their plan to crash that Capulet party. Remember, Benvolio's like, yo, there's going to be a lot of girls there, you're going to have a lot of fun, you're going to forget about your ex-girlfriend, da-da-da-da. And Romeo's pretty much getting talked into it. So then, the scene starts, Act 1, Scene 3, with Juliet in her home. She's in her room with Lady Capulet, her mother, and her nurse. And her nurse has been taking care of Juliet for years, since she was a baby. So if you can imagine knowing somebody since you were a baby, and then them seeing you grow up, that's sort of like how the nurse has been. So the nurse knows her in many ways. So the women are talking, and they talk about age, and they talk about marriage, and they talk about how Juliet is actually she's 13. Which in that time means that you're all grown up and you need to start looking for a partner or marriage or somebody to suit you. If you remember, we talked a little bit about this where ranking was a big thing. So she's a high-ranking individual, so she would she would more than likely marry someone of her own rank or higher. So women talk about, the women are talking about age and marriage, and that Juliet is 13, she's all grown up. They're talking about, yo, maybe you should start getting married, or think about it. Lady Capulet and the nurse talk about marriage, but Juliet, she's not about it. She's not really into it. She's not into the idea of getting married. And, I mean, she's 13, so does that really surprise you at all? I mean, I can't imagine, most of you guys are like 14, 15 years old. I can't imagine you guys wanting to get married at such a young age. But Lady Capulet and the nurse talk about marriage, and Juliet just kind of dismisses it. She's like, oh, when the right person comes, da-da-da-da. She doesn't have eyes for anybody. But Lady Capulet and the nurse both talk about how the young man Paris, if you remember from earlier, Paris is a high-ranking individual, and he is in love with Juliet. And he's going to be there, and they know that, and they know that he likes Juliet. Remember, Lord Capulet, the dad, was also telling Paris that, you know, she's not really into anybody right now, but, you know, go for it. He basically got the go-ahead from her father. So they're talking about Paris. He's a pretty boy. He's got money. He's a good match for her. But she's not too enthused. She's not too impressed. She's not too excited about it. She's pretty uninterested in many ways. Juliet, in this scene, we get a lot of her characterization. We get to know a lot about her. We get to know about who she is or how she is. 1, we know that she's very young. 2, we know that she's not even thinking about marriage. 3, she's also pretty respectful to her mother and her nurse. But we don't know exactly how she is, or what she's going to do, her I guess, where she plans on going from here. But we do know that she is still young, and we do know that she has her life ahead of her. At least that's what she thinks. So it's only natural for her parents and her nurse and people that love her to want her to, settle down and stuff like that. But at the same time, Juliet wants to live her life. So there might be some kind of, streak in her that, shows that she wants to, let loose and just be herself sometimes, which I don't think is a problem. So now, what I need from you guys, that's just a review from Act 1, Scene 3. So right now, what you need to do is you need to go to the comments. You need to comment that you've watched this video. Tomorrow, on April 20th, I have posted for you guys, or it's scheduled to post, Act 1, Scene 4 of Romeo and Juliet. Okay? So right now, comment that you watched it. On April 20th at 9 o'clock, you go to Google Classroom, you read and you answer those questions. You submit them before midnight. Everything's going to be all right. Okay? So if you need anything, if you have questions, you're unsure about something, shoot me an email or anything like that, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. Just keep up with the reading, guys. We aren't going to be back face-to-face this year, which really sucks. But what would suck more is if you have to repeat a grade because you haven't been doing anything or you haven't been turning in your stuff. The name of the game is getting your stuff done right now, and the name of the game is doing it to the best of your ability so that you will not have anything against you to make you, not get credit for this trimester, okay? So make sure you're working, make sure you're doing your best. If you need anything, let me know. Other than that, take care, boys.